the piece specifically gets into the criminal penalties. 18 USC 3559. It's saying that anyone who violates this order, if you evict someone, you can be subject to a fine of no more than $100,000 or 1 year in jail, or both if the violation does not result in death, or a fine of no more than $250,000 or 1 year in jail, or both if the violation does result in a death. So if you kill somebody because you evict them, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's so stupid. I'm going to be pushed to day drink on air. An organization violating this order, blah, 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 blah. So that's what they're telling you. You don't, there's no one that has the right to tell a private property owner that someone else has the right to live in their property for free. You don't have that right. That's infringing on this private property owner's right. Since when is the federal government seizing private property of people and telling them that this is how they got to run their property? That's exactly what they're doing here. This isn't a law. Blank this law. Do not comply. This is an unconstitutional regulatory grab of intrastate commerce. Aha. Let's just lay right there on that little thing right now. We talked again about this yesterday with Andy. This is one of the reasons why, by the way, that Joe Biden knew that he did not have the ability to, that they did not have the ability to do this. He acknowledged that it was unconstitutional to do this and did it anyway. Remember, they were leaning on governors. That's at least where they were going for this. They were going to be leaning on governors to get this done. And so they decided, no. It's not a law. And here's why it's not a law. You can sit here and you can cite Commerce Clause 6 ways to Sunday. Oh, please do that. Let someone walk into that trap. You just let them babies just walk right into that trap. You let them go. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Tell us about the Commerce Clause. Tell us about how it's a violation of the Commerce Clause. Go ahead. And you just sit and smile. What is it Churchill said? Never, ever, ever murder your opponent when they're committing suicide. I mean, rhetorically, because people are dumb. I have to say rhetorically. And so just let them walk into that, because here's the little bitsy bitty problem with that. The Commerce Clause, as it is explained in the Constitution, the Commerce Clause as it has been invoked in numerous Supreme Court cases, and one of the most famous, of course, is the Obamacare case, has to do with interstate commerce, not intrastate commerce. And see, that little prefix is incredibly important, because it gets into whether or not the federal government can regulate any kind of agreements, property or otherwise, or any sort of engagement in commerce in a particular state, not between states. See, they handle between states, but they don't deal with things that are specifically relegated via Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution back to the states themselves. Thus, this is unconstitutional. There is not a single argument you can make to justify it. The end. This is where Brett Kavanaugh screwed up. Brett Kavanaugh screwed up because the Supreme Court decision that was back in, June 29th, the Supreme Court decision that came down was a decision to allow the current moratorium, which they only had barely 4 weeks left, to stay. And that was more so because they wanted to go with a rule of law of legal equity as it related to these people already going through all of this, and they had barely 4 weeks left. And that's not I know that word has now been just all torn to hell because of CRT, but it's a different application and an entirely different reality and context. But the barely 4 weeks left, they had a decision to allow that to stay and to let that play out. However, what the court determined was that there is no constitutionality at all whatsoever to extend it. The CDC does not have that authority. The CDC is not a legislative body. This is why I found this. What reporter is this? I'm asking you guys like you guys know. I'm talking to myself. Dana, what reporter is this? Who's this dude with? This is a CNN dude. This tweet, it just gets me. CDC Director Walensky has officially signed the new CDC Eviction Moratorium that applies in U.S. counties experiencing substantial or high levels, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me, what? Girlfriend did what? This broad does not have the right to make this determination. I don't remember, pray tell, y'all, I don't not remember CDC Director Rochelle Walensky being there when I signed my mortgage agreement. Do you all? Because I sure as hell don't. I don't remember her being there. Kane, do you? When you were going through your property stuff, do you remember Rochelle Walensky being there with you?
She definitely was not there.
She was not there with me. She was not there with me at all. I feel like I need to call some people and see if she was there with anybody else. Was she there with any of you all? Was the CDC director there when you were all signing your mortgage agreements? Did you all have a caveat? Well, it's dependent on nothing. This is a joke, and this woman's a laughing stock, and she should be roundly publicly ridiculed, because ridicule is an act of mercy when a more stringent action would be applicable. This is a joke. A joke and a half. Well, the Centers for Disease Control and also Property. Is this Zoolander? The Centers for Disease and Property Control. This is not a legislative body. This broad does not have any authority to make or enforce any compliance at all whatsoever. It's a garbage edict, and it's a cowardly move from Democrats who made this woman be the front for it so they could tuck and run.